The cells and gloomy corridors of the infamous Eastern Pennsylvania State Penitentiary, closed in 1971, were considered one of the most haunted places in the United States. Having come to terms with its reputation, the prison is transformed each fall into a haunted house. One of the most terrifying places is located in Mexico, exactly on the island of the Dolls. This island gives goosebumps to even the bravest in the world. If you dare to visit it, more than 1,000 dolls hanging from trees will watch you during the tour. It is an earth-breaking and terrifying sight in equal parts. Legend has it that shortly after a girl drowned in the canals of Xochimilco, Don Julian Santana Barrera, who at the time was in charge of the island, found the doll floating in the water. As a sign of respect and to calm the spirit of the drowned girl, he decided to hang her from a tree. Since then, and for 50 years, he hung dolls all over the island, until he himself died drowned in the same place where the girl died. Creepy. A terrifying place is to enter a dark cave. In the case of the Aktun Tunchin Mukhtar cave in the Cayo district, the visit is even more terrifying, because you have to swim first to get to the creepy part. After a few meters, you'll find human skeletons scattered on the ground, believed to have been sacrifices made by the Maya to honor the gods of the underworld. The best-known human remains in the cave are those of the Crystal Maiden, a young teenage girl laying face up on the floor, her calcified bones shining brightly from the calcite covering them. Would you dare to go to such a place? In August 1892, Andrew and Abby Borden were found murdered in this Massachusetts home, although the prime suspect was considered to be their daughter Lizzie. She was later cleared and no one was charged in their deaths. Today, Lizzie Borden's house is a bed and breakfast, where the bravest guests can sleep in the very rooms where the Bordens took their last breath. The necropolises of the world instill dread and are always full of gloomy legends. One of the most terrifying places in the world is the Xochitl Cemetery. What makes it so terrifying? Well, it is a desert area in the department of Ica in Peru. The visit becomes even more sinister not only because the grave robbers are scattered in their looting part of the human remains throughout the area, but because many tombs have been left open and pre-Inca skeletons watch you from their eternal resting places, in fetal position and wrapped in their mortuary clothes. Do you dare to take a walk under the watchful eye of the decrepit mummies, resting in their graves overlooking the stars? The catacombs of Paris were created to release the burden on the city's overflowing cemeteries. Today, the bones of more than 6 million people rest in the cavernous tunnels beneath the French capital. Many of the remains have been arranged in complex patterns throughout the catacombs, visible to tourists who want to explore the Parisian underworld. The inhospitable area of Atacama was home for many years to a small population around a saltpeter mine where men, women and children were exploited to death during extraction. Today, decadent and shrouded in stories of paranormal events, Boston is a ghost town declared a World Heritage Site that very few dare to visit. If you walk through its streets, you will be able to see the decline of a town that at the end of the 19th century boasted wealth and life. There are still standing some emblematic buildings such as the theater, the church or the hotel. But you have to be very careful. They say you can hear noises and feel the presence of the miners who died for that white god. Undoubtedly, it is a spooky scenario, only for horror lovers. It is considered one of the most terrifying places in the world. The most terrifying places in the world are located in mysteriously strategic corners of the world. This case is for the Grand Hotel Vienna, which is wrapped in stories of ghosts and fables. This hotel, near Mar Chiquita, in the province of Cordoba, is considered one of the places with more paranormal activity in all Latin America. It was built in the 40s as a luxury hotel. It is believed that it was even a refugee for the Nazis and Adolf Hitler himself. Today, it is a museum and many visitors claim to have seen apparitions, such as the former head of security, women standing by the windows of the rooms, or girls running through the corridors. The best part, you can visit it at night. How scary! Abandoned hospitals have a disturbing allure that inevitably turns them into a source of urban legends and great mysteries. This terrifying place has a lot of history. It was first a center founded in 1915 to treat tuberculosis patients, and was closed after the eruption of the Irazu volcano in 1973. For a short period, it was also a prison, but it was closed and abandoned. Since then, the complex has deteriorated by leaps and bounds, and the only thing that remains alive and intact is the legend of apparitions and extraordinary events, such as the center is inhabited by the souls of patients or the nuns nurses who appear on occasion, lurking in the rooms. If you dare, the caretaker will let you visit in exchange for a little money. It is a terrifying place that will surely leave you with an uneasy conscience. It is said that the ghostly hotel El Refugio del Salto, located in a rocky abyss near the Tequendama waterfalls, was one of the favorite places for suicide to take their own lives. The legend surrounding this hotel tells that many visitors saw specters or heard desolate screams coming from inside the hotel or its surroundings, perhaps from the souls in pain that do not rest in peace. It is now a house museum fully restored, which you can visit and tour, as well as enjoy some charming exhibits. A great opportunity for a true horror lover. It is one of the most mysterious places of the peninsula and one of the best known monuments of the place. The chapel was built in the 17th century on the whim of three Franciscan friars who wanted to convey the fragility of human life, and that our stay in this world is always transitory. As soon as you close the door, you can see a message that reads, "The bones that are here are waiting for you." On the banks of the Epicurean Lagoon in the province of Buenos Aires, this luxurious tourist village was created in the middle of the 20th century, but in 1986 the entire villa was covered by water after a heavy flood that broke the embankment, and it stayed that way for 2 decades. All kinds of suspicions were created around this submerged villa, until one day the water evaporated completely, bringing to light its former splendor, now turned into a gloomy panorama. From its street and building now, only dark traces of a luxurious past remain. Many visitors have heard screams. Do you dare to take a tour of this terrifying destination in the world? The combination end of the world and prison for the most dangerous criminals in the country is deal for horror tourism. It is undoubtedly one of the most terrifying places in the world, because when you enter, you feel an atmosphere of fear. This sinister prison is located in Ushuaia, Argentina, and a few years ago it was converted into a museum that allows you to visit all its cells, corridors and rooms. Many of the cells still have the prisoners' uniforms, as well as other objects including photographers. But that's not all. There are life-size sculptures of the most emblematic prisoners, such as the multiple murderer known as the Mystic, or the Little Big Ear, a child murderer, an unmissable date to get your adrenaline pumping. It is a pentagonal fort built by Dutch settlers in the 17th century and former government and military headquarters. Here also took place dreadful punishments and executions. Hence, many people are said to see ghosts and apparitions of those lost souls who still suffer for eternity. The whole town of Belchite and its ruins are testimony to the Spanish Civil War. Half a century ago, this village became famous because some journalists, including Iker Jimenez, recorded the first psychophonies of Belchite, where they claimed that explosions and the roar of airplane engines could be heard. Would you go alone? What could be spookier than the catacombs? Under the chapel of the Church of San Francisco in Lima, there is a network of narrow labyrinths, passages that give access to subway sculptural vaults where you can see skulls, tibias, fibulas and femurs, dating back to the 17th century. In these crypts are the mortal remains of approximately 25,000 people related to Franciscan order. It is an enigmatic and tenebrous tour that also takes you to a cone-shaped ossuary with a depth of 10 meters. Throughout the tour, you can feel a strong energy contained within these walls. Do you dare to visit this underworld of ghosts, skulls and skeletons, considered one of the most terrifying places in the world? The spooky story of Kastis Castle in Slovakia, one of the settings for the classic horror film Nosferatu, extends beyond the big screen. The structure's decrepit walls were home to Countess Elizabeth Bastoni, arguably the world's most prolific serial killer. Now imagine stepping in the same footsteps as this murderess during her lifetime. And you, would you dare to visit all these places? Thanks for watching this video and find me every day on my reels.